In the last video, I talked about get diff. Here, I'm talking about get diff staged. As you can see how its syntax is right in front of you. Get diff staged, of course, is a get diff in terms of the type of output it shows, but it's going to give you the difference between the files that are staged and the ones that are in the repository in the checked out branch. Contrast that with get diff, which compares the working directory file with the version of that file in the repository, and it considers, for the sake of that get diff command, it considers the staging area as if it is part of the repository. Okay, so get diff staged shows the difference between the file in the staged area and the one in the actual repository, and get diff without the staged option shows you the difference between the file in the working directory and the one in the repository and staging area. The most common thing that you would want to do with a git log command is to limit the number of history items. In this example here, which I have highlighted, you could see the -4. That limits it to 4 history items. And then the one-line thing here just says that each history item should only be the one-line version of the history item. Here's an important thing to note, that let's say you have a project folder and you have files in the project folder and you want to make this project a Git repository. You would use git init, okay? But, this is a big but, if you do not or did not yet add anything to the repository, in other words, if you did not do a git add and then a git commit, at least for one time, then it really is not truly a Git repository yet. For example, if you would type git log at that time, you'd get this fatal bad default revision head. Okay, watch what happens when, after doing a git init, we do git add, and there are files in this project. And you're going to be hearing the actual audio from the video here. Git status. Notice that all the files have been added to the staging area, not just the files in the current directory. I think the logic behind this is, since the other directories are listed in the current directory, Git is going to recursively go in and look for files and directories in those directories, and it's going to commit everything to the repository. Okay, so in other words, when you do git add dot, you are adding everything in the current directory, and this would include what's inside all of what is in the directories inside the current directory. Okay, this is the result of a get diff command, and there are some things which I can point out which are useful. See the 71 here? That means line 71 of the file. 270 is line 270 of the file. The other thing is about line wrapping. As you can see here, the lines are not wrapping. They are just go off the screen in the terminal. I'm going to show you by playing this how to wrap the files. Data that I'm interested in, which is the 4315, and they're off the screen, but I can't see them because this is a very long line and it stretches way beyond the console, and the console is not wrapping it around. If I want to make it wrap it around, I press dash, shift, and S and hit return. Okay, now it wrapped things around. There's also an option that can be used when initiating diff, so that automatically once it shows the less pager, it will automatically be in the wraparound mode. Okay, now that sequence, the dash, shift, S, and enter, that is like a toggle sequence. I can toggle this off. If I do Okay, minus shift with an S, and then hit enter. Okay, now we're back to the way it was before. Okay, now the diff mode that we're in right now causes it to show the line. The way it shows us the difference is it shows us the line that was removed and the line that was added. There's another way to display this, and I'll show you. Okay, first I'm going to exit with Q, clear the screen. Now I'm going to run diff, but this time I'm going to use an option here. The option is color words. Okay. Now look what it's showing me. See over here? Instead of showing me this line twice, one being removed, one being added, it's showing me what was removed, the word that was removed, and it considers this to be a word. And then what this word was replaced with. Okay, now again up here I can't see the stuff that was removed because it's off the screen, but I can do dash, shift, S, enter, and it'll show it. Okay, of course I'll have to do forwards to see the other stuff, and then back. Okay, and that showed the changes side by side. That's the term I want to use right now. Okay, get commit AM. That means add and message. That way, if you do a get status and you have a whole bunch of modified files, you can do get commit AM and you won't have to add these files to the staging area before you do the commit. And this doesn't work for everything. It only works for if you have files that are just modified and you want to commit them to the repository without having to put them in the staging area first.